How did England manage to dismantle Andorra's defensive wall? Yet, Tuchel is facing tactical problems that could quickly escalate into crises. How did England shut down Andorra's weaknesses through the midfield? My friends, in this video, we will cover analysis of build-up play, playing style and individual movements, defensive analysis and breakthroughs, problems and solutions. Let's begin. Good day, friends, and welcome back. Tuchel lined up with a 4-2-3-1 formation, with Pickford in goal. At centre-back, Byrne and Guehi formed the pairing, supported by the full-backs Lewis Skelly and James. In the double pivot sat Rice and Anderson. Ahead of them, the attacking midfield trio featured Easy in the middle, with Rashford and Madueke on the flanks, and Harry Kane leading the line as striker. As for Andorra, they set up in a compact 5-4-1 formation. First, analysis of build-up play. How did England construct their attacks from the back? The answer, my friend, is simple. England built from the back with ease, as there was no pressure on the goalkeeper or the ball carrier in the first third. Here we are speaking of a side that relies heavily on defensive compactness, Andorra. This approach allowed England the freedom to progress their play from deep without significant obstacles. So far, England's build-up from the back presented no issues, but the real problems would soon emerge. The difficulty lay in penetrating centrally, and that, my friend, was the core challenge. So, how did England press their opponent's defence? When Andorra were in possession, the front three, Harry Kane, Madueke and Rashford, applied pressure inside the penalty area. However, because of Andorra's defensive shape, their goalkeeper could easily distribute the ball to either full-back. As this scenario repeated, Eberechi stepped in to join the press, forming a quartet of England players closing down the opposition's back line. At this point, Kane would curve his run diagonally towards the goalkeeper to cut off the passing lane to the left centre-back, while Easy pressed the right-sided centre-back. This pressing scheme forced the goalkeeper to go long, allowing England to recover possession swiftly through their full-backs or centre-backs. Up to this stage, everything was working quite well for England, and for us, observing the game. Secondly, playing style and individual movements. What role does Harry Kane interchange with Madueke? Harry Kane often drifts to the right flank, as he is tightly marked when positioned centrally. At that moment, Eberechi moves into the central lane to occupy Kane's vacated space. Kane then calls for the ball from Madueke, making a run behind the defenders. In this scenario, Kane finds himself less tightly marked. After receiving the ball, he attempts to deliver a cross into the box. However, Andorra's compact defensive block neutralized most of these deliveries. So, what was the alternative? Kane adjusted his movement, drawing defenders out of position to create priority for the wingers. Dropping into midfield, Kane pulled opposition defenders with him, collected the ball from deep or from the double pivot, and then released it to the flanks. This allowed Madueke and Rashford to drive into the central channels on the break. Yet, once again, Andorra's defensive shape restricted the effectiveness of these passes. Why did England's right flank look more dangerous in attack? The answer, my friend, is crystal clear. On that side, Madueke was England's most influential wide player throughout the match. His movement made the difference, with his dangerous opportunities giving England a sharp attacking edge. Madueke was not content to simply hug the touchline. Instead, he drifted inside intelligently, sending long crosses into the box when space opened up, or opting for sharp, short passes under pressure. The essence of his threat lay in his ability to combine, playing into the fullback or midfielder to unlock multi-layered attacking moves that increased England's pressure on Andorra's defence. But here we must pause at a pivotal point: the partnership between Madueke and the highly effective right-back, James. Madueke's incursions into central areas regularly dragged 2 or 3 defenders with him near the edge of the box. Why? To free space for James. Receiving the ball from the centre-backs, James would then advance down the flank to deliver a cross or recycle possession back into Madueke. From there, Madueke would link with Kane or Rashford. And let us not overlook Eberechi, whose role was crucial in pulling defenders either into central zones or towards the edge of the box. This constant movement opened the channel for Madueke and James to deliver dangerous crosses. When James found himself one-on-one on the right touchline, he consistently managed to deliver into the penalty area. Waiting inside were the attacking trio, Kane, Rashford and Madueke, ready to capitalise. This approach produced England's breakthrough. The first goal came via a cross from Madueke, while the second was created through a delivery from James. The question, my friend, why did England struggle to dismantle the defensive block? The answer is straightforward. The right flank was the only effective side throughout the match, despite the heavy reinforcement of Andorra's compact defence. Why was the left side ineffective? The explanation is simple. Rashford is undergoing his toughest test under Tuchel's management. The dilemma deepens when we study his role within the team's structure. There was little impact, no meaningful contribution in breaking down defensive lines. Even against Andorra, he was far from being the solution. On the contrary, the left flank with Rashford looked flat, wasteful, and ineffective, as if England were playing with half a winger. What the team needed was a player capable of creating space and opportunities for his teammates. Someone who could blend seamlessly into the system. Rashford did not provide that. Even during his spell at Barcelona, he struggled to adapt. That, of course, is my personal view. So, how did England manage to penetrate Andorra's defensive lines through the middle? This came in the final third, where England deployed a 5-man unit to unsettle Andorra's defensive organisation. Through short combinations, they looked to play into the box directly, release the ball wide to the winger, or find Harry Kane up front. But for large parts of the match, this strategy proved ineffective against the Andorran bloc. Hence, England were forced to introduce greater tactical variety in order to break down the opposition. But how did England use passing as a weapon? Here, my friend, England looked to strike on the counter-attack. The midfielder would launch a long ball towards either the left or right winger, aiming to create a dangerous break. However, the majority of these long passes fell to Rashford, who repeatedly failed to capitalise, rushing his decisions and misplacing passes to teammates. Third, defensive analysis and penetration. How did England close down Andorra's attempts to break through midfield? Here, Andorra tried to exploit gaps in England's midfield, but consistently failed. On the rare occasions when they did find a way through, they immediately met resistance from England's defensive line. Moreover, England's midfielders tracked back quickly to reinforce the defence. As a result, most of Andorra's attacks lacked potency, whether down the flanks or through the central channels. This underlined how strong and organised England's defensive display was on the day. In the second half, England shifted towards a game plan built on pace and greater attacking threat against Andorra. This high-intensity pressure unsettled the opposition and forced them into numerous mistakes. 8 major errors in total. The statistics tell the story. England registered 11 shots, 7 on target, with the Andorran goalkeeper making 5 saves. Problems Tuchel must address before it is too late. He must resolve the issue on the left flank, replacing Rashford with a player of higher quality, as Rashford no longer delivers the level he once did. He needs to improve build-up play both from the flanks and centrally, adding variety and flexibility to England's attacking tactics. That is my perspective. Now, my friends, I'd love to hear yours.